Hey, Gavan and friends, welcome to another episode of the Lord of the Wrongs podcast, the only Tolkien podcast the professor himself would dismiss as juvenile and crass. My name's Dan Zerby, and I'm here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, Sean Kelly. Together, we'll be discussing the writings, adaptations, news, games, anything else regarding J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium in a way that he would find objectionable.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, you got to come in. You here, Sean?
Yeah, I don't know. I usually just kind of step back and let you just.
I usually have
intro.
Yeah, I usually have a little bit more, but yeah, I don't know. It's been actually a little while since we last recorded, so
yeah,
I'm a little rusty.
Yeah, we had other things going on, and then we actually had to do
we did
research for this one. Imagine.
Yeah, there was research.
Our pants,
happened.
Our pants have been doing a lot of flying by the seat for most of these, but in this case, we wanted to, at least
butts are worn out.
Fact check slightly.
Yeah. Speaking of fact checking, if you've heard our show, you know how we start our episodes by pointing out how stupid we are. So Correction Corner, hi. Yay, Correction Corner.
We're here.
So, yeah.
Don't be so joyful about it.
I feel like we're always kind of in Correction Corner.
We just sort of like we're in the corner, but we turn around to a camera that's behind us. Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, like from above, just looking down at us shamefully. And this time it's your turn to go first, but I got a little something.
Yeah. Oh, you have one too. Well, I actually have two. So at the end of our episode on Sauron, my fun fact was that Kaiser Wilhelm was the inspiration for Sauron. Yeah, no, it's just wrong. I mean, it's a correction. It's Correction Corner. So yeah, that thing I said was incorrect.
Yeah, that was pretty much flat out wrong.
Yeah.
As with most of our corrections, though, besides the sort of temporal anomalies where Tolkien couldn't have because it was after done something because it was after he passed.
Yeah.
This one's, it could be true. But
it could be true, but
we're gonna say 99%.
I mean,
false.
Yeah, stupid. Anyway, my other correction was last episode. I don't know exactly if we said that it definitely is an Old English word, the word captain, because we were talking about lieutenant and how the Brits pronounce it lieutenant because. Yeah. It's a French word, and they want it to sound less French. And we were saying Tolkien would have preferred a word with its root in Old English, and we use captain as an example, and captain is 100% a French word. It's capitaine.
Capitaine.
Yep. Yeah, which comes, I believe, from Latin before that, but yeah, it comes to English absolutely from French.
Yeah,
we probably should have known, or could have guessed at least.
Oh well.
Yeah, we weren't paying attention.
Live and learn.
Hey,
you actually learned something this episode.
Yeah.
Unless you probably already knew that, but speaking of linguistic corrections, I was trying to say a random phrase about to Kaiser, but I was trying to say Gott schütze den Kaiser, which is God save the Kaiser, but I don't know what sort of word mumble jumbo came out of my mouth, but that's what I was thinking of.
Right.
I don't speak German, so
yeah, I was gonna say, as we said before we started recording, it's a lot easier to remember foreign phrases when you actually speak those languages. So
it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it yeah.
But speaking of speaking the language, what are we up to today, Zerb?
Well, Sean, I think you know damn well. I don't know why you're playing dumb, but we're talking about, and actually our listeners know because they are they clicked on the episode. So we're
All right,
talking about the
everybody
Silmarils.
knows.
Yeah, everybody now knows. We're finally talking about the Silmarils. It's a ring we've been kicking down the river for, I think, the entire show so far.
Yeah, we've made it downstream. We're officially downstream.
And we're finally talking about this because, I mean, if we've had to mention it that many times, it must be important, and they really are.
It's almost like there's a whole book named after them.
I mean, yeah, almost. No, it's not almost. It is. Yeah, the Silmarillion.
No.
Yeah. I don't need to put any spoilers out on the Silmarillion, but the Silmarillion is heavily features the Silmarils.
Yeah. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's the deal with these Silmarils, Zerby, so-called?
Not to be confused with comedian Sam Morrill. The Silmarils, also known as the Great Jewels, also known as the Three Jewels, also known as the Jewels of Feanor. The Jewels
also
of Feanor are
the Silmarilli.
Yes. Also, the Jewels of Feanor also refer to something else that belonged to Feanor.
Yeah, we don't have to.
Yeah.
We don't have to get into all that.
Yeah, but we're going to. So what? Okay.
Yeah, no. This episode is about the Silmarils and Feanor's balls.
That's right. I mean, it kind of actually is his figurative balls.
Yeah, really. Wow.
Yeah, and and his literal balls too, because his sons play a huge part in the story. So.
Yeah.
Anyway,
actually,
all will be revealed.
Whatever the allegory, alleged allegory.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that worked out.
Yeah.
Great.
So hang on.
Anyway.
I think this might be a two-parter, so I might need to circle back and look at all of the places where Tolkien was subtly or not so subtly implying that this whole story was about Feanor's testicles.
Genitals. Yeah.
All right, we could just not talk about that until then, or ever again.
Yeah, we'll play it by ear. We'll see how much material we have to work with for the next episode. Anyway, so the Silmarils were the three great gems. They were crafted by Feanor, who is another character that we've kicked down the river many times.
Basically, he's the greatest smith in the history of the elves.
Yeah, the greatest craftsman. I mean, you could even argue he's the greatest craftsman of everybody except for Iluvatar.
Yeah, well, so Tolkien has this distinction between creation, which only God. It's like it's like a Catholic thing. Like only God can truly create things.
Yes,
and then all of his creations sub-create things.
Right.
So
everything humans make it's not a creation; it's a sub-creation.
I would say I think the Valar. I mean, we'll talk about it in a second. But I would say Yavanna with the trees and everything. That was sort of
that's true.
So besides the Valar, I would say Feanor is pretty much a shoo-in for the greatest creator of all time. I mean,
definitely, and rivals many of them. So they're three very pretty jewels, and they were made from the essence of Laurelin and Telperion, the trees of Valinor. And if you want to hear more about that, you should listen to episode 5 that we have on trees.
But basically, the two trees were the light source for the early ages of Middle-earth, and they sort of bathed the world in a holy light that we'll talk about a little bit more in a second. But
one was the daylight, one was the night light.
And these gems captured the light of those trees within them, so they were real pretty.
Yes, indeed. So in and of themselves, I mean, they were definitely cut gems because Tolkien's done illustrations of various damn, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like
I don't
coat of
know.
arms sort of things, but they were more.
Oh,
Yeah, but they're more like. They almost looked like Pennsylvania Dutch hexes. Actually, they look very similar to that. They were also very Mediterranean. But anyway,
optimal
yeah,
for capturing light. The
yeah,
the
yeah,
Pennsylvania Dutch were
yeah,
master jewel craftsmen, as we
yeah.
know.
Yeah, Germans are industrious, just like Feanor. Anyway, so it's not important. Anyway, we can assume that they're cut gems, and yeah, they glow with their own light, and they are, the most beautiful things ever made by hands, I guess
So, in
you
the
would
same
say.
way that the ring sort of,
Yeah,
besides just its malice and everything, the people who look on the ring sort of they want it partially because it's so beautiful.
yeah,
But
perfect,
these were
perfect, simple gold. I think is a description
yeah,
in there. Yeah,
and but the ring, a lot of it was malice, whereas these, I think it was just because they were so.
they were so beautiful.
It
Yeah, they
was
were
like
like
an
perfect.
unholy beauty, but also very holy. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
Enough
they
to
were.
make everybody desire them.
Yes, they were definitely actually holy though, because
Literally, they were
yeah, yeah,
hallowed. Yeah.
yeah. We'll get there in a second. Uh, so yeah, the most prized and desired objects in Arda, even by the Valar. The Valar were even obsessed with these things. And then yeah, they're prized above everybody else, even more than anyone else, by their creator, Feanor. Now, Feanor and his shithead sons will will definitely get their own episode because that's a whole story. But the story is
It's
inter
very
it,
closely
it
tied. Yeah.
it's very closely tied. You can't talk about the Silmarils without talking about Feanor. You can't talk about Feanor without talking about the Silmarils. So he made them, knew everybody thought they were so cool. So he, of course, naturally just wore them openly in Valinor on his forehead and
It's a
just
pretty big flex, I
it
would say.
it really is. It's like, oh, this is the most beautiful thing ever made by me, and here it is, no touchy.
Yeah, he was looking drippy as hell with the
Yeah,
Silmarils on his brow.
yeah, he sure did. All three of them. Just, I have to imagine that would have been a very heavy headpiece to be wearing.
Yeah, but like we don't know
We don't know if they were
how.
heavy, actually. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
it's
It's
true.
because you see images of them.
Yeah,
As we'll get to with Morgoth, and they look huge. A number of images, but then
yeah,
like Feanor wore them on his head,
right. So
so
they couldn't have been that big. Yeah,
yeah. But then again, it's of all the people's ability to hold their heads high, I think Feanor's was probably first among the
yeah,
free peoples.
yeah. I
So
think that's accurate assessment.
so it doesn't really matter how big they were, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean they were.
Yeah.
He was getting attention, that's for sure.
Well, he was getting attention, which ended up making him quite paranoid. To the point where he stopped wearing them out because he knew because they were so beautiful, and he knew that everybody loved them and thought they were beautiful and wanted them for themselves, and he started to get paranoid. So he ended up locking them in an iron box and only allowed his father and his sons keep them, or just
Yeah.
to look at them, I should say. Yeah.
That's you gotta love when somebody creates the most beautiful thing of all time, and then it's like a private art collectors,
Yeah.
they're
This is
just
this
like
incredible contribution to art and to the
I,
human expression.
I
And it's only for me.
this is so beautiful, and I'm so proud. Nobody else will ever see this until I die. Which
Yeah.
spoiler alert happens. But speaking of
Yeah.
happening,
Yeah. Oh, actually,
uh,
before we get there, I should have mentioned this. We did already mention it,
yeah,
but so these were so beautiful and impressive that the Silmarils are ended up being hallowed by Varda, the Queen of Arda, Manwë's wife, so that no hands unclean or evil may touch them without burning their flesh. Um, I don't know if this was intentional, but also mortal flesh cannot touch it without being burned.
yeah, it seems like
Yeah.
I don't know, it might have been a bonus sort of
Yeah, it's
attribute.
like, ooh,
Yeah.
right, I forgot to put it in the qualifier in the in my
But we
hollowing.
also it's it's sort of just a weird. It's one of those things where he says unclean and immortal flesh or
Yeah.
whatever, but like there are the the exceptions don't even really prove the rule. So
Yeah,
we'll
it's
get to
true, yeah.
those in a bit.
Yeah.
But for now,
Yeah, for
Zebby,
now.
what do you say we direct it into the fire?
Ooh.
Uh, I didn't. I could have come up with a better
Yeah.
name for it, but
Eh, I mean,
I mean we've got cast it into the fire, which is where we come up
right.
with our casting choices now. But
Indeed.
I was hoping that we could figure out who we would want to direct a version of the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
do you want me to do you want me to start
uh
it off?
yeah, start us off. Why don't you start us off? I've got a few.
Okay.
You start us off.
All right. So, how about a Wes Anderson? Just
Oh
make
man.
it. I want. Wow. How do I not?
Perfectly symmetrical shots always.
Yeah, just like the full discomfort in the camera, but in a whimsical way.
Yeah.
Actually, he wouldn't be the worst person to do like a version of The Hobbit.
Actually, yeah, that you know what, that's true. I think I would personally not like his version of The Hobbit, but I don't think he would necessarily do a bad job. I know
You
I
might,
wouldn't
you
make
might,
mistakes, but
you don't
I might.
know.
That's true. He hasn't made it yet.
But I don't think he's right for the Silmarillion, which is why I think
He's
he's
definitely
right for
not.
the Silmarillion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Well,
it could be like a stop motion animation. We don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, who do you got?
So there's an obvious one I feel like that comes to mind because he almost directed The Hobbit and should have directed the Hobbit movies. Guillermo del Toro. The guy knows how to do monsters. He knows how to do it. I'm a big
Yeah,
fan of it.
I
His
think
directing.
he would actually do
He
a
would.
good job.
He would.
I'm thinking that
Yeah.
you're gonna have some pretty good suggestions, and mine are gonna be mostly
I have a
out of left
couple
field.
more, but only one of them is good.
Well, what about the Coen brothers? Just like making a dark
That's such an interesting,
first
actually,
age
like
comedy.
suggestion. Yeah,
That it's
with
all right.
John Turturro as Morgoth.
So like that's one of those suggestions where like if they took their job seriously and just made like the best movie they could, I feel like they would be one of those picks where like there are certain times when actors or directors like have a role and it's supposed to be like
Yeah,
serious and it's like a Matthew McConaughey or something where like
right.
nobody took him seriously and then he had like a serious acting gig
Yeah,
in Dallas Buyers Club or something, and then everybody's like, "Whoa, hang on, that was amazing."
that boy's got chops.
Or it would just be super goofy.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to say.
What else
I
you
mean, the
got?
Coen brothers can do serious very well as well. So,
Yeah, I
um,
mean, they have both sides of the coin.
speaking of serious,
Whoa.
yeah. Um, no, I just think this person would do an excellent job adapting the Silmarillion. Ridley Scott.
Yeah, yeah. I
I thought
mean,
that'd be a pretty good one.
the dramatic tension involving monsters. Ridley Scott has nailed it in the past.
Yeah. Indeed, he has, and he also just does these like big sweeping epics very well too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It would. He'd be able to lock it down. I think either one of your suggestions would actually be good.
don't worry, I have some shitty ones.
So speaking of monsters, I mean, how about a Cronenberg flick? Yeah,
Yeah.
David Cronenberg.
I was gonna say David or
Director of The
Brandon,
Thing.
his son. Yeah.
Oh, I did. Did
Yes.
Brandon directs horror or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fun.
I think. I don't know. Hey, audience, if I'm wrong, please let us know by sending us an email Lord of the Wrongs podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, do that.
I mean, he would be like, I'm just sort of imagining the Silmarillion as like this dark, sort of horror. And I don't know, it would put a really interesting twist. I mean, because like they're fighting against Morgoth and his terrors for hundreds of years,
thousands, and he has Balrogs and dragons and shit.
Yeah, imagine like a body horror Balrog. Yeah, I'd rather not actually. What else you got?
Kevin Costner.
Oh,
that's right.
Hey.
I just wanted to let that hang in the air like a fart.
Has he directed something before?
Oh yeah, are you kidding? Absolutely.
He's hang on, I gotta look at what his movies are. I figured he had, but like when I was trying to think of what movies he
directed Dances with Wolves.
Oh yeah.
He actually only directed 3 things. Dances with Wolves, The Postman, 1997, and Open Range, 2003. That was a good Western. But I don't actually think he would do a good job.
No, I mean,
brilliant at all. He only does Westerns, so.
Oh, funny you said that. I was thinking Akira Kurosawa.
Ooh.
Like, I know you said a Western would be ridiculous, but like, imagine
a samurai, though.
They're the same thing, though.
I mean, they are basically the same thing, yeah.
Like,
that's why they barely change anything from Seven Samurai to Magnificent Seven. It's the exact same movie. You're just replacing katanas with cult peacemakers.
And everybody's got a cigar.
Oh yeah,
or a cigarillo, or whatever.
Yeah,
different hats. A hat versus a top knot. But I feel like you joked about it, but a Western or like a old samurai flick inspired version of the Silmarillion would actually be pretty awesome. I mean, think about like I don't know if you watched The Mandalorian, but
I've only seen one episode with Timothy Oliphant, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't watch any more.
That's that's about what I expected. But
kind of it's effectively a Western itself.
Yeah, it's a Western,
especially the episode with Timothy Oliphant, apparently.
Yeah, actually, but I mean, they kind of all are on some level or another. But I mean, the original Star Wars flicks were inspired.
Oh yeah,
pretty heavily by Kurosawa. Yeah. And
what if we have a samurai movie mashed with a Western set in outer space?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't sue us, please.
Yeah, laser katanas. Yeah. Well, actually, now I'm thinking of Kurosawa flick of the Silmarillion with laser katanas.
Laser swords.
Not lightsabers.
Yeah. No, not lightsabers. That would be a travesty. What we're talking about
would crucify someone.
Totally different thing.
It's a laser sword.
It's a laser katana. It's not a lightsaber. It's a laser katana. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, my laser katana was forged by Telkar in the First Age. It's a weird reference. Okay.
Anyway.
Nerdy. All right.
Yeah.
So that's all I have. I don't know if you had any more.
But... I had one more really stupid one.
Well, let's hear it.
Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Tim Burton Silmarillion would be...
I had thought about it. But
very silly. Very silly.
I mean...
Goofy nonsense.
I'm hoping for puppets.
Dude, you said puppets, and I just had the idea. Since we have access to the Madame Tussauds personality matrix and everything, we can bring back people from the dead. So, Jim Henson's The Silmarillion.
Oh, which would be probably a horror show because his non-Sesame Street stuff or whatever is like
creepy as shit. I already talked in
or
the
Muppets, yeah.
Yeah, the Elf episode. I think I talked about my disdain for
Whatever it's called, the
Dark
Crow
Crystal.
one, yeah, Dark
Dark Crystal. I mean, I love me some Labyrinth, but I do not love Dark Crystal. But yeah, that would Silmarillion, Jim Henson's Silmarillion would be really creepy and really weird.
Yeah, why did like most of our adaptations here have gone real dark?
Yeah.
But like,
well, they're dark. Most of them are pretty dark stories. The Silmarillion's not exactly the Hobbit.
Not a happy time.
It's not even Lord of the Rings. I would say it's infinitely more tragic and horrible.
Well, I mean,
Lord of the Rings.
It ends on like a sad
Children of Húrin alone. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, isn't the last story? It's like
I think it's of the three rings, or of the rings of power in the Third Age.
Yeah, but like,
it ends,
well, yeah. I mean, in case you haven't read the Silmarillion, the story ends by summarizing the events of Lord of the Rings in a couple pages.
Yeah.
From like a history book point of view. But anyway, Peter Jackson directed Lord of the Rings, and he had only directed horror before that, right? Or at least like certainly just B-flicks, but mostly horror.
I think it was mostly horror for sure. I think his biggest thing he did before Lord of the Rings, I think his biggest film was The Frighteners with Michael J. Fox. It's classic.
Yeah,
it's almost a kid's movie though, honestly. I don't know why that movie's even rated. I think it's rated R and it shouldn't be.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was at a different time.
It's a fun movie. But yeah.
Okay.
So where were we?
So we had just talked about how Feanor locked these Silmarils in an iron box to just look at them all by himself. Yeah. Totally not weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally not weird at all. So Melkor, aka
ruiner
Morgoth,
of good times.
I mean, he's gonna show up and he's gonna fuck some shit up. And in this case, go back again, listen to our episode on trees, and you will know what happens here. Morgoth comes along with his big 8-legged frenemy, I guess.
Yeah, I think frenemy is probably the best.
Yeah.
The best word we could use to describe Ungoliant.
Yes, Ungoliant. It works out too, because that term frenemy was coined by Stephen Colbert, who is himself a massive Tolkien geek. So there we go. That was all full circle.
Yeah.
So they come and destroy the trees and
plunge the world into darkness.
Yeah, like the dicks that they were. And so so the world's in darkness, and the Valar ask Feanor to break the Silmarils so that they can restore the trees. And if you know anything at all about Feanor, you know that he's a dick.
Yeah, wasn't going to go along with that.
Yeah, he said, no goddamn way. Here, I'm not breaking the Silmarils. I don't care if the whole world is in darkness.
I've got my 3 pretty flashlights right here. I'll be fine.
Yeah. It's like, I don't give a shit that the entire world is in darkness. Like, he's such a dick at every turn. Feanor is such a dick.
Yeah, but he was right. And we'll get to that when we do his episode.
Yeah, well...
No, he was right about everything he did, I think.
Oh man.
There's a group of Feanor apologizers.
Yeah, I hate it so much.
It's like say that like he did nothing wrong effectively.
Yeah, I think Feanor did nothing wrong is like a thing, and those people are wrong.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just hate it. Like, yeah, it's like you might as well be saying, yeah, Morgoth did nothing wrong, which I'm sure there are some of those people out there too.
There's definitely a Sauron did nothing wrong thing. Yeah, but that's sort of a meme. Yeah, but
yeah. I'm assuming most people don't think that in earnest, because that would be stupid. Anyway,
I could hope not.
But anyways, So yeah, Feanor says, "Go to hell. There's no chance. I'm not doing that." And so while they're all distracted by the aftermath of what Morgoth and Ungoliant did, Morgoth and Ungoliant steal the Silmarils.
Yeah,
They're arguing.
basically.
Yeah, while Feanor and the Valar are arguing with each other, Morgoth tiptoes in behind them and yoink steals the Silmarils.
And kills Feanor's dad.
Yeah, true. Also, he also does do that
In the process. So Feanor wasn't a huge fan of Morgoth's work at that point. Actually,
Yeah,
he coined the term Morgoth then,
that's
right?
true. Yes, he's the one who first calls Melkor Morgoth. He gives him that name. Yeah, for what he did for stealing the Silmarils and killing his father. Although, let's be real, I think Feanor was more upset that the Silmarils were stolen than his father was murdered.
Okay. To be fair, Tolkien does make it clear that of Feanor's many sins, loving his father was not one of them. He actually did really love his father.
He did.
But, you know,
But
his father...
I still say he was more upset about the Silmarils being stolen.
How much could he really get for his father at Antiques Roadshow? You know what I'm saying?
Well, what you have here is actually a First Age jewel created by none other than Feanor himself.
Yeah, that's gonna run you in the range of being priceless and essential to the goodness of all.
You could buy the planet
kind.
with these.
Yeah,
you could buy the planet. Yeah,
they
just
were
one of them, really.
Yeah. I mean, they were pretty much priceless. So
yeah, I mean beyond value. I mean, just
it would be like super cute. There would be like that guy who's like a jewelry nerd or whatever, and he like his hands are like shaking, and he's like super like you can tell he's like so visibly thrilled to be seeing. He's just like, oh my god, this was a limited run. There were only 3 of these in existence. These were created by Feanor himself in the time before the trees. Or
it was actually in the ages.
the uncounted years.
Yes.
This is all happening before the First Age, which was
I was going to say this is in the year of the trees.
We'll talk about shortly. It's the noontime of Valinor, which is all sort of denoted by the tree's existence,
right? Because they were so awesome and beautiful.
And well, actually, then when Melkor and his friend slurped all the magic juice out of the trees, that was the good audio. That was the dusk, or what is it, evening tide of Valinor, something like that. So
something like that.
We're rapidly approaching the end of the good times here.
Yeah. When all the light goes out because a giant spider drank all of it. Yeah, that's the end of good times.
After Feanor does what he does.
Yeah, well, here we go. So when the Silmarils are stolen, Feanor and his sons, they make an oath to wage war against any being that takes and keeps a Silmaril from them, be them mortal, elf, Maya, or Vala.
Yeah, it's a pretty hardcore oath.
Yeah, it's an extremely hardcore oath. And oaths are a big deal in Tolkien's writings.
I mean, in most
writings, but especially
fantasy and things like that. But
but especially in the Legendarium, it's extremely important. So if you make an oath, you are like oath breaking is like the worst thing you can do.
They swore it on. Didn't they swear it on the Silmarils or something?
I
think they swore it on. There's a time when I might just be making something up, but I believe they swore the oath on the Silmarils, which means the oath was probably. Well, I mean, hang on. I'm reading the oath in verse, but I'm not going to read it out loud because we can't really read any sort of completed like poems or anything like that.
Yeah, we can only
legally.
We can do bits, but yeah. But yeah.
Oh, they swore it on the Holy Mountain, which
oh
is
shit, yeah.
yeah. Also, the Holy Mountain would have been what was it called?
God.
The one where Manwë was.
Manwë lives on top of it. Yeah. Oh, God, son of a. Wow, we are bad at this.
Okay, to be fair, it is hard to keep.
Taniquetil.
Taniquetil. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to look it up. I just remembered it.
Nailed it. Nice.
Yeah,
proud of
perfect.
You.
I'm editing the rest of that shit out.
But so like that was going to, like, not only are oaths in general like important in the works, but if you're swearing it on something that holy and hallowed, you're gonna be held to it.
Yeah, you're gonna be held to your oaths, and that plays a part a little bit later.
I do have a question for you, Zerby.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Shoot.
Would you rather take an oath to pursue the Silmarils to any end, facing down anybody who takes or holds them, and doing it until death, or swim in a pool full of maple syrup?
I think I'd go with a pool of maple syrup because it's denser even than water, so it'd be very easy to float in it. It'd be hard to move, but
but you gotta swim it. I feel like you gotta swim a couple laps.
Yeah. Well, either way, I feel like there's still a better chance of surviving that. There's a better chance of me surviving a swimming pool full of maple syrup than Morgoth.
Fair. But also, I mean, as we see in the stories, the sons sort of just ignore the oath for a while.
Yeah.
Well, I don't.
It gets real. It gets real bloody. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I might swear the oath.
Yeah. Really? You'd go with over a swimming pool?
Yeah, I mean, you get sticky.
You could. Yeah. I really don't like being sticky.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It would be like, well, like, hang on. What if I said you have to swim in a pool full of maple syrup on the beach?
Ew.
You gotta like leave and like roll around in the sand.
Okay, yeah, no, okay, I'll take the oath.
That puts it over the top.
I don't like sand in my bits.
Crevices, yeah,
no crevices, no bits, no parts.
And if you're coated in maple syrup first, the sand is everywhere, and it becomes your second skin.
Yeah, true. Also, you'll attract crabs
and flies. Yeah, crabs and flies,
and probably seagulls, which are the worst.
I feel like seagulls wouldn't want to. Okay, anyway,
this is a serious tangent. Anyway,
yeah, so they swore the
oath, right? Yeah. So yeah, once they swear this oath, that's when Feanor names Melkor Morgoth. So he flees, takes his jewels, his newly stolen Silmarils, and runs to his stronghold in Angband and sets them in his iron crown. But of course, before that happens, he has to touch the Silmarils, and because he's a dick himself, they burn the absolute shit out of Morgoth's hand.
Yeah, he is not only unclean, but also
dirty boy,
the worst of the worst, really. So
yeah, and the dirtiest of boys.
Yes. And nothing burns a dirty boy like a Silmaril.
That's right.
But he doesn't.
Kind of like a Mr. Clean magic eraser for evil, you know.
But Mr. Clean magic erasers don't burn the unclean. It just
do they not?
I don't think it's not a flamethrower. It's a sponge. with like bleach.
Yeah, but I
in it or
thought,
something.
all right.
Wait, is that how it works?
It's not a sponge of, of hydrochloric acid.
It cleans surfaces by creating a very a razor thin layer of burning uncleanness
Yeah,
that sort of allows it to glide over stains.
yeah. Just give it a quick like right afterwards, and all the ash just goes away, and it's perfect.
Oh, is that why every time I use a magic eraser, there's just like a dense cloud of acrid black smoke that arises from it? And
That's exactly right.
yeah,
That's
okay,
exactly
that
right,
makes sense.
Sean. Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
he takes the magic eraser and he goes and hangs out in his
Yeah, he goes into
uh
Hangman.
yeah.
So then the adventures of Feanor the Dickhead begin with him leading the Noldor to Middle Earth to try to steal back these Silmarils. So basically, Feanor kind of starts a mass exodus from Valinor of the elves.
He was not a master craftsman of just jewels and
Yeah,
and other
yeah.
tinkering
He was politically
things.
savvy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was.
He
I mean, for as much of an outspoken douchebag as he is, he's also somehow also politically savvy.
he had the elves who followed him besotted as if with wine, at
Yeah,
his words. I
yeah.
always remember that because besotted is just such a
It's a
good,
great word. Yeah,
yeah, it just feels
um,
good on the tongue.
yeah. Galadriel, by the way, is one of those Noldor that follow Feanor.
It's debatable as
But
to whether she. I
yeah,
think she was just
there's
following him for her own
yeah,
purposes,
not for
but
yeah, because Galadriel always wanted to have like to be a ruler of a kingdom. That
yeah,
was something she wanted. So that was kind of like why she was doing it. Because really, she and Feanor did not get along. Feanor was her uncle, and he was creepy as shit.
oh yeah, he.
Yeah, he
Well,
actually.
yeah.
Well, yeah, no, we'll
No,
save that
no, it's a
little.
good tangent.
It is a good tangent. So little tangent here. Tangent warning, everybody. um,
Tangent warning. We should, if we had that for every time we go on a tangent, it would just be nonstop.
yeah, maybe we should try that for season 2. Anyway,
Yeah, we'll
so
get a
quick.
tangent klaxon.
God, we're on a tangent on our tangent.
Tangent, yes.
Jesus. Anyway, so the original tangent that we meant to go on before that other tangent was that when Feanor was crafting the Silmarils, he actually asked his niece Galadriel for some hair to put into the Silmarils because her hair is so beautiful
So
and
pretty.
so pretty. But she refuses him because he's a creep and a dirtbag. Basically, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not a quote from the
Yeah,
Silmarillion, but that's effectively what happened.
yeah, it's paraphrasing at least, but it's
Yeah,
it's I mean that's basically how it went down. She was like,
yeah.
no,
She was like,
you're
"Hell
weird."
no, dude, get away from me." Which is why in Lord of the Rings, when Gimli requests a single hair from her head, it's such a big deal that she not only gives it to him, but she gives him 3 strands of her hair.
And I just realized, so
Which I just love. That yeah, like
yeah,
once
no,
you learn the
it
backstory
is
of that, it makes me so happy
it
every
is one of
time
those
you think about
moments
it.
that makes it way richer once you
Yeah, I mean, I get
know
chills
the
when I think
joke
about it.
behind it. Yeah,
Yeah,
because it is like it's like almost a joke from her to, but
yeah,
like also like a very like
well
yeah,
after the
a
fact.
heartfelt
Suck it,
joke.
Feanor. Fuck
Yes,
you.
exactly. He's like watching from the
From
halls
the halls of
Mandos,
Mandos.
just
Yeah,
like you little shit.
he's like, you bitch.
You got my hot niece's hair and I didn't. Mandos is like, all right, stop being
um,
weird, Feanor.
yeah.
But
So
he, no, another thing I realized was it to put it in the Silmarils. That's why he did it,
yeah, I think so. I believe so.
which
Or
makes
maybe he
it
just wanted to make some other jewel out of it or something. But yeah, it's for
more.
jewelry making for sure.
Doesn't he tell Legolas he wants to encase it in crystal?
Yeah, Gimli does. Yes.
Yeah, Gimli
Yeah.
tells Legolas that, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Legolas just smirks at that, like you don't even know how
Dude.
much of how much you're flexing on the ancestors of the elves right now.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Yeah. So anyway,
tangent
all right.
over.
Tangent terminated. So okay. Where were we? Oh yeah, so that really kind of starts the War of the Jewels following the kinslaying, which we talked about in the elf episode.
Yeah.
And we'll go into more detail when we do go into Feanor. But
yeah, let's just rest assured, Feanor does some pretty horrid stuff to get those
really, truly
rocks back.
Yeah, some really revolting shit.
I mean, he leads. So I just want to mention this just so I can say it, but he leads the elves over the sea, basically, and then when after he steals those ships, they end up basically going north, and they basically abandon a group of elves on the Helcaraxe.
Yeah,
which is the shifting ice.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yes, it is the shifting ice of the north. Yeah,
I just like saying Helcaraxe.
I can tell by the way you said that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, but
Helcaraxe is a great word to say, though.
Yeah, not only does he steal the ships, which were basically the Silmarils of the sea elves.
Yeah.
But he abandons half of his people, and then instead of going back for them, he burns the ships afterwards.
So that they can't go back without the Silmarils, basically.
Yeah, he was just sort of forcing his Noldoran companions to actually follow through on their promise, and they're like, "Holy shit!" I don't know.
Yeah. So this.
I wonder how many were questioning.
Yeah. So that all starts a series of battles that ends up being known as the War of the Jewels, which is basically Feanor versus Morgoth for the Silmarils, and effectively Feanor loses. They fail.
Yeah.
The Noldor fail completely.
I mean, pretty much one of the first things that happens, I mean, I'm not even going to say spoiler alert, but he dies like very early on
fairly early on. Yeah.
Like in the time that like Morgoth basically is just like, hey, you want these jewels back? Come get them. He basically he leaves his stronghold like one more time, I think, to fight somebody later on, but he just never leaves, and then Feanor is forced to just try and like bust down his door.
Yep. And
it doesn't go well.
Doesn't. He tangles with Gothmog, the Lord of Balrogs, and doesn't end up too great for Feanor.
Bound to go poorly at that point.
Before we go any further, I think that's about where we were going to break from this part of the story.
Yeah, I think we can probably cut it off there. So we will do
off with Morgoth having all 3 Silmarils.
Yeah, we'll do a second episode here on basically the fates of the 3 different Silmarils.
Right. Part 2 for the exciting conclusion. But yeah.
I did have another little thought-provoking tidbit lined up for us.
Oh, sounds good. What do we have here?
This is a conspiracy unmasked.
Gas.
Yeah. I don't know. Wait. Am I gonna have to just do all the musical stingers with my mouth? Because I'll do it.
I mean, it's more entertaining to listen to later than
certainly the choo choo of the.
I mean, the choo choo is pretty great, especially when we hit it at the same time. Yeah,
but so I think that the entire story of the Silmarillion and all the events thereafter are all a simulation.
Oh.
Yeah,
Simulation, you said.
so when Feanor crafted the three jewels, they were able to reflect and refract light so perfectly that I think all of the information and light and everything that was surrounding them in the earth just ended up entering into the jewels and sort of refracting around inside there, and then the entire thing just played out within the jewels like there was some sort of like black hole supercomputer.
Interesting. It's a
How I
fascinating
can feel,
theory.
what the hell? Whoa. There's a
What?
tin foil hat on my head. I don't know how it got there.
Is the water turning the Balrogs gay?
Yeah, I don't. I don't.
Oh god.
Unfortunately, listen to enough Infowars to be able to make more references than
I
that.
know,
But that's
yeah,
probably all right.
yeah, that's it's for the best. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that just the whole thing is basically it was uh it was Iluvatar's way of just running a couple simulations so that
Simulations, yes.
so that he could sort of play out and prepare for the Daggerath, which is another ring we'll have to kick down the river. But
Yeah, it'll get mentioned again at the end of next episode because the Silmarils play a part in it, but we'll get
yeah,
there later.
but I figured he was just doing a couple trial runs, and this
All
one we're
right.
seeing is like one of the first. So
Yeah, could be. Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, Feanor's the creator of the Magic
Yes.
Lanterns script, some of the
Yeah.
most beautiful jewels the world's ever seen, and the world's first quantum supercomputer.
Yeah. He invented the Matrix.
Whoa.
Feanor is that guy sitting in the room with all the monitors with the white suit on. That's
Rendil, you are the one.
it's really true. Yeah.
I don't know. It would probably be him if anybody. Who, like,
I mean,
who's
yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, it definitely is Arendelle for sure. Which is another ring that's got to get kicked down the river. But again, we'll mention him again next episode because Silmarils are really the most important artifact. If you could only pick one single artifact that's more important than anything else in the Legendarium, I feel like it would be hard to argue with the Silmarils. They just
obviously
put everything in motion, everything that happens.
The One Ring is, very important, but you're also, looking at it from the context of Lord of the Rings, where it is the most important MacGuffin.
Right. Yeah.
These were the OG. I mean, think about
you think about how long the One Ring had its influence from its birth to its death at the end of the Third Age. The Silmarils' influence is from before the First Age all the way through to the Fourth.
Yeah, I mean, it was
it's all.
It was probably 4,000 years for the One Ring, and then the Silmarils were for like an age and a half, so a long time. But I mean, yeah, if Sauron is the big bad of Lord of the Rings and Morgoth is his big bad daddy, he's the daddy of the baddie,
Daddy of the baddie.
He's the baddest around. So
that's right.
The Silmarils being his sort of prized possession and everything, it's pretty serious. It's just on a different order of magnitude.
Yes, indeed.
One thing we ought to mention is these two episodes.
Yes,
are
the end
of
our first season.
Yeah, we're gonna take a little break for an indeterminate amount of time.
Yes, because while we do love doing this podcast and it is a lot of fun for us, it is a bit of work too. And this is a very busy time of year for people with full-time jobs and
we're recording all this,
families that were
so near Christmas, so there may or may not be a Christmas special in the near future, but other than that, our regular programming is going to take a break.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so we've got one more, but
yeah,
I guess. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm remembering the whole Gottschwitz and Kaiser thing. So I guess that means it's my turn for.
Yeah, it sure is, buddy.
This episode. Okay.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, caught me by surprise on this one. I need to get my research in order. I spent so much time researching for this one that here we are. Okay, so
you shuffle your papers around and find it.
Yeah, I don't have any papers to pretend to shuffle around, but just imagine in your sort of imaginationscape. Now that, thank you. Yeah, that's
You're welcome. There
from my mic. So Tolkien was so Tolkien.
He's just sorting through the research, everybody.
Yeah.
Give him time, damn it.
He had one stipulation. If his works were to be converted into film, was that the rings of power be represented by ring pops.
Oh, right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love a ring pop?
Yeah, they're so pretty and big.
Yeah, and tasty, obviously, number one.
Yeah, nothing's so elegant on the finger of an elf as a ring pop. Yeah, so, that makes sense.
It'd be pretty great if in Lord of the Rings, in the Mirror of Galadriel, when Galadriel reveals to Frodo that she has, this is Nenya, and she just reveals it, and for the first time he sees that there is a ring on her finger, and then she just puts it in her mouth. Goes, ooh, lemon.
It's just reveals her finger, and it's a piece of candy that's like half the size of her hand.
And she just starts sucking on it. So anyway, I know what it is that you saw. For I too have seen it. Anyway,
yeah,
save that for later.
Yeah, which is
great fun fact.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It preserves the elves as long as the ring pops last.
Just don't bite it.
Just
don't bite it. Anyway,
sorry, that took a lot out of me doing that research. So
yeah, no, you clearly worked very hard on that.
All right, once again, where can the people reach us, Herb?
Well, the people can find us on Instagram. Our handle is Lord of the Wrongs Podcast, or you can send us an email at lordofthewrongspodcast@gmail.com. Send us your corrections, send us your praise, send us your hate, send us your love, send us money, send us gifts. I don't know.
You can send us your firstborn.
I mean, yeah, well, we'll make good use of it. Anyway, make about it or no?
I don't know. I was trying to list another thing that you could send. You kind of covered all of it. So.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, I guess we say Namadia.
Namadia. Join us next time, Brad.